How important is it to have a trading journal? This is the topic of today's video. Hey guys, Mohsin here, and today I wanted to make a video on the importance of having a trading journal. I didn't always have a trading journal, and what I'm going to do actually in this video, I'm just going to talk about my experience with having a trading journal and how I used it and how it has helped me. When I first started trading, when I was trading retail level, I wasn't journaling my trades or journaling anything really. The first time I actually saw somebody use a trading journal was when I started working professionally as a trader. It was at my first company I worked at, which was World Trade Securities. When I started working there, I saw that a lot of traders had a little book and they would write into it. And asking them, what are they writing in it? Why are they using it? It just brushes off, right? When you see somebody successful doing something, you want to mimic it. And that's when I really started to journal for trading. And what I did, and I guess anybody or everybody does it their own way, and you're open to do it in whichever way works for you. But for me, I used it in this way. I actually had my book, it was called Rules of the Jungle. I wrote that on it in big. You can call your journal anything you want, but have it something meaningful, it's a little bit fun. And what I had in it on the first page is the rules that I had to follow. Because when I was starting to trade at this firm, I had a hard time following the rules that I had set for myself. And the reason for that is that at this firm, the strategy we were running was very short term. So it was scalping / market making. So you're getting in and getting out very quickly of trades. Basically, you're literally like buying something on the bid and trying to sell it at the ask and making 1 cent profit. But you're trading big volume. So you're buying 100,000 shares, selling 100,000 shares, you make 1 cent, and that's $1,000 profit. If it doesn't go your way and you think the stock is gonna drop, you flat trade it for a $0 loss. But if you're not quick enough, you might lose a cent, so you're losing $1,000. So you have to make decisions very quickly and very fast. And if you're a little bit too slow on taking your losses could be very big. Because this was the first strategy that I have run professionally, I had to be really good with following my rules. I couldn't be slow. I didn't have a week to decide, oh, well, no, actually I have to get out of that trade. Let me get out of it. I had a second to decide and to click on the button. The first page of my trading journal was just rules. So example, one rule would be if the stock goes up 2 levels in a row, don't chase it. Wait for it to pull back before entering. It could be something else. It could be something like if there's news in the morning, don't trade for the first whatever hours. So any rules that I had for that strategy that I wanted to follow in the long run, I would put it on the first page. And every day, every morning when I got into the trading floor, I would open my book and I would read the first page of rules. At the end of each day, when I finished trading, I would add some notes. So for each day I had a different page. And I would put in this page the amount of money I made. That's not the important part, but I would put the amount of money I made, the amount of trades, the date of the day, and then I would put if I did anything wrong. So how that works is, it's not necessarily if I lost money or if I made money. Because sometimes you do something wrong, but you make money. So you do a bad trade, but you end up making money on this trade. And these are the worst type of trades. Why? Because your brain is gonna be like, it made money, so let me do it again. But if you keep doing this type of trade, in the long run, you're just gonna lose money. And sometimes you do a good trade and it loses money, but that's okay. If you keep repeating that trade, you'll make money in the long run. It doesn't matter if the trade made me money or if it didn't make me money. What matters if it was a correct trade or not. So for example, if there was news on something and I chased it and I got in and I made money, well, that's a bad trade. I know in the long run, it's not gonna make me money because I have a track record. I see that historically, this type of trade doesn't work for me, so I shouldn't have done it. And if I did a bad trade, I would note it. That was a bad trade, I have to not redo it again. And I would see if I have a rule that tells me not to do this type of trade. Now, if I don't have a rule, then I would add to my list of rules another rule that I have to abide by. And if I already had it, then I would put an asterisk on it and I would really make sure that next time I follow through and I would repeat it to myself several times before the trading day to make sure that I don't redo this same type of mistake again. Now, if you want to go a bit further, I understood that trading was really affected by our psychology. And this is why you can't know if somebody's going to be good in trading or not, because everybody has a different types of psychology. I read a lot about this. I actually read a lot of articles that look at human behavior and human biases that negatively affect us when we're trading, like status quo bias, endowment effect, a bunch of other biases. I'll actually link a few articles if you're interested in them in the description down below so you can read on them. It's very important to understand what makes us do the things we make, right? Like, for example, status quo bias. While you're in a position and you prefer the status quo because you don't want to leave that position and get into another position, even though you have thousands of other options out there that you can go with, because you're afraid that if you get out of this position and you get into another position, well, what happens if the stock continues going up and you miss that opportunity? So the anticipation of future regret and future blaming yourself is so high that you decided to just stay in that position. These are types of biases that affect us. Anyways, I'm sidetracking, back to the point. If you read on these biases and you understand them, then in your journal, you can write in it. You can say, well, I was affected by this bias. I have to really watch out for this. Either read up on it more or put it on your rules page that you have to watch out for this bias to really understand yourself more. And this is really the key why a trading journal is important, because when you're losing in trading, it's because of your psychology. Again, I've sat down at trading firms where the guy next to me had a double PhD, was teaching economics at the university, and was trading for a year and never made a cent, couldn't make it. And the other guy next to me didn't have a secondary degree and was in the top 5 traders every single month. So what made the difference? This guy obviously had more knowledge than this guy, but this guy was better. And what I think made the difference is this person was too much emotionally involved. He had to be successful. He worked all his life to do this, so his emotions were so strong that they controlled him. This guy wasn't involved. He just got this job and he doesn't care if he's successful or not because he doesn't believe that he could be successful. So if he's not successful, well, okay, so what? So his emotions weren't controlling him as much. When he had to take loss, he just took the loss and moved on. But this guy, that was too involved, couldn't just take his losses and move on, because it meant too much for him. So your emotions have a big impact on you. And if you don't realize that, and if you don't work on it, you're not gonna be successful. And having a trading journal so you can look at it and read it on different days when your emotions aren't controlling you, right? Because when you're trading, your emotions are high, but when you're not trading and you reread stuff, then you kind of understand and you know what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, then you can change things. So what I would do is literally do this every day that I traded, and I would change or add to my rules of the jungle. And every morning, without a question, I would take it, open it, and read all my rules and pound it in. And I would have the rules in different color schemes. So the ones that I already abide by, I know, but I still have them, I read them every day, they're there. But the ones that I have more difficulty with, on a day I see that I didn't do them correctly, and I add a little asterisk next to them, I really reread them several times in the morning. And that way, when I'm trading, I just think about it, right? It's like if you go to the casino and you tell yourself, you know what, if I lose $100, I'm leaving. But every time you lose $100, you don't leave, you just stay and you do the same thing. Well, if you had a journal and every time before you go in the casino, you read and it says in big, if you lose your $100, you have to leave. Several times you didn't do it, you have to do it or you'll never be successful. Okay, well, next time you go to the casino, you lose $100, you'll be like, no, I have to leave, and you just walk out. It helps you. Now, are you gonna have to read this and do this every day for the rest of your life? No, I did this every day in the beginning, and when I started to be successful and I was okay, then I started to read it every couple of days, then every 3 days, then every 4, then every week, then every month. And then at one point, I stopped having a journal at all. Now, at one point I was trading and I restarted making mistakes. Like, it was a long time after I had stopped using a journal. And then I realized that, hey, you know what? I really need to use a journal. And I used it for a bit. And then I got back to not needing it again. So it's really gonna depend on you. You can have it for your whole career, or you can use it for the times that you need to use it and then gradually stop using it, because all these behaviors are now part of you. So if you're a beginner trader, make sure to just buy a notebook from the dollar store and then use it as a trading journal. Now, I'm actually coming up with a video next week that's gonna talk about the most important things in trading, and we're gonna talk about trading psychology because I wanna get more in depth in that. So make sure to subscribe, hit the bell icon for when that's out, or if you're watching this video in a while, then check on our channel, or there might be a link somewhere, but make sure to watch this video as well. And if you like this type of content, please hit the like button. It helps a lot with YouTube algorithm and helps this channel. And that being said, get yourself a journal, and I'll see you guys at the next one.